The key to self-stop... What?
Only been a few hours, but it felt like days. Only been days, but it felt like months. Been gone for a year.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Mookie, aka Miss Mookie if you're new here. My channel is all about self-love, growth, and helping other people better themselves. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, then welcome to my community. In today's video, we are going to be talking about self-sabotage. What is it and how to stop doing it? This topic is really important to me because this was something that I had been working on for the past several years, and I'm so happy to just share the things that I've learned throughout my journey. So if self-sabotaging is something that you've been trying to, work on and stop doing, then this is a video for you. So the first thing I want to talk about is, what is self-sabotage? Self-sabotage is the intentional action or inaction that undermines people's progress and prevents them from accomplishing their goals. Now, self-sabotage, it can honestly be something that you're completely unaware of until you start thinking of it. But if you're here watching this video, you most likely have thought about it. I don't know, maybe it popped up for you as a suggestion. If you did, welcome. I'm glad we get to talk about this today. But some self-sabotage can be something that you're completely unaware of until you actually start thinking about it. But once you start thinking about it, you're taking the step in the right direction to actually stop doing it. Now, I want you to keep in mind that you are a prisoner of your own thoughts when you are self-sabotaging. Now, it's important to take accountability and realize that you are responsible for being a prisoner of your own thoughts, but you actually have the power to free yourself from this prison. So that is the good news. And self-sabotage is something that we can stop doing as soon as we put in the work to start doing it. But the first thing is to acknowledge and take accountability for the things that we have done thus far. So for self-sabotage, if what I just said didn't really, break it down for you, I want you to imagine being in the woods with a bear and you're terrified of bears and this bear is chasing you. You have two options. You can run straight ahead and find a spot to hide, or you can go back to, say, your cabin where you know a hiding spot. You can hide there. Our brains are, here to protect us. So our brains are going to go back to what we're familiar with, aka the cabin that we just came from, because we already know that's safe. So this is basically what self-sabotage is. We are going back to something that is safe rather than going with the unknown, because we don't know if we'll actually be safe there. Our brain's main function is to keep us safe. So that's kind of what self-sabotage is. It's keeping us safe and keeping us protected from the unknown, because the unknown is unsafe and it could potentially kill us in our mind's mind. Now, I want to address that self-sabotage is often talked about something that somebody is intentionally doing. They're intentionally behaving in toxic behaviors, but they just cannot stop. And that's not always the case. Like I said, self-sabotage can be something that you're completely unaware of. Self-sabotage is something that happens to our nervous system when we are trying something new, because like I said, the new is unknown and our nervous system can't handle that because it doesn't know if we're going to be safe or not. Our nervous system, or our brain's main function, is to keep us alive and to keep us safe, make sure we survive. And so our nervous system is going to do any and everything to keep us alive and make sure we survive. And that can include negative thoughts and negative thinking and making us do self-sabotage so that we can keep ourselves safe, because our nervous system can only speak to us or, send us signals. It can't actually move or control us. Our nervous system is set up this way. So with our nervous system being set up this way, it will actually prefer known misery rather than unknown happiness. Like, we can think that something's going to make us happy, but we can self-sabotage that because the misery is all we know, and we know that we're safe within that misery. So when you do try to change your normal behaviors by doing things that are lesser known to our nervous system can actually pull us back so that you're doing something the nervous system is familiar with, because that familiarity means safe to our nervous system. So in other words, the main reason we self-sabotage is to predict what's going to happen, and it gives us an illusion that we're in control of our pain. So I want you to think of the movie Inside Out when I say this. The movie Inside Out, it talks about the girl, Riley, I think her name was. She has her 4 main emotions. She is a kid, so she's not used to experiencing a whole bunch of other different emotions, and only one emotion can be in charge at a time. And so basically joy, because that is the main focus of Riley's nervous system. She wants to just be happy so that she can, survive and grow. So joy is the main one in charge. And the movie happened, while the movie is, going on, sadness is kind of taking over. And joy is just not having it because it's something new to her. So I want you to just keep that in mind when I am talking about self-sabotage, because I love that they made a movie that even kids can understand, and it just helps them become more aware of what's going on within the inside. So I absolutely love that movie. I love that they're making a part 2. Like, it's just a great example of our nervous system, our emotions, and why we self-sabotage. Well, what's going on when we're self-sabotaging. Basically, self-sabotaging behaviors will look like waiting for something to be perfect before we, start on a project. Or, I hear a lot of people with the content creation. What does it say? It was like, the fear of not being perfect is holding you back. You guys know what I'm talking about, I hope. But that goes along the lines of waiting for something to be perfect before you start doing something. That's self-sabotaging, because the fear of failure is basically holding us back. So we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if we're going to succeed. We don't know if we're going to fail. So we just stop it altogether. We don't do it. We got to wait for it to be perfect. We got to wait for the right moment in order to do it, when we could just do it, and we just have to, let our brains know that we're going to be okay regardless of the outcome. And this will another self-sabotage behavior is just staying in your comfort zone, because your fear of failure is always going to keep you there. Another self-sabotaging behavior can be that you're always working or always keeping busy, because that little voice in your head can tell you you're not worthy. And this is self-sabotage because you don't know what it's like to just be at peace, be quiet, be still, and this can also be seen as a trauma response as well. It's just like you were always being yelled at as a kid, maybe. And so this is just an example. I'm pretty sure there are other reasons why you could always, just be constantly working and keeping busy, but you were always being yelled at. So for you interpreted that as, I'm not worthy. I have to do this and that in order for me to be worthy. And that just leads me to the next point, is that inner critic that we have. We are so hard on ourselves. We can tend to talk really badly about it. I have no idea where I left off because my storage was full. Anyways, people pleasing is also another self-sabotaging behavior. When you're saying yes to people when you don't really want to, or you'll just do anything, regardless of how they treat you, that is a form of self-sabotaging as well. And we tend to do this so that we can feel good about ourselves later on. Another self-sabotaging behavior is not trusting that good things can come to you, because at your core beliefs, you're not worthy of receiving what you actually really want. This can also be interpreted as imposter syndrome. Also, being hyper independent is a self-sabotaging behavior, because we tend to have unhealed or hidden wounds where we have suffered abandonment or rejection in the past, and we tend to also fear commitment as a result of this. Now, if you've been hurt in the past, it's completely normal to have this reaction to commitment, but there comes a time where you just have to realize that vulnerability is healthy, and that the right person or the right people will treat you just as you should be treated, and nothing less. Now, behaviors, and I will be fully transparent with you guys, behaviors that I have noticed within myself that were self-sabotaging. These are a lot of the things that I used to do, and I realized the error in my ways, and I corrected them as soon as I could. Like I said, I've been working on this for years, because self-sabotage was something that I knew a little bit about, but I didn't really completely understand it until I really did my research. Also, a book that I would recommend if you guys really like want a full-blown explanation of why you, yes, I say you, are self-sabotaging, read this book. I will put it right here. It's called The Mountain Is You. I've read this book so many times. It's absolutely like one of my favorite books. It just goes into detail how you were standing in your own way, and that is you're the only one standing in your own way. So that's why it's called The Mountain Is You. And then it just goes on to talk about self-sabotage. It's available on Audible. You can also, you know, read it if you prefer to have a hard copy. Also, if you have a library that you frequent, get a library card and go to your librarian and ask them if they have a library app. My library has a library app called Libby where you can virtually check out books, and it's awesome because it's like Audible, so you can listen to audiobooks on there as well. So I suggest going to your local library and seeing if they have something similar to that, because it's absolutely super convenient and it's something you don't even have to pay for. It's perfect. But yeah, I did actually purchase The Mountain Is You because, like I said, it's my favorite book, and it really goes into depth about like self-sabotage and why you are standing in your own way, and self-sabotaging and how to, you know, combat all of this and stop doing this. But like I said, I'm being fully transparent. These are things that I have noticed within myself, so that's why I am able to speak on these things, because these are things that I have experienced. So I would analyze and second guess my own feelings. I would overanalyze and second guess my own feelings. And that was self-sabotaging as well, because I'm not trusting myself. I'm not trusting my own instincts. I can't even follow my own instincts because I can't even get in tune with my own emotions. I was also setting up emotional walls, which were preventing me from actually making connections with other people. And once I stopped doing this, I was so happy, because I am all about sisterhood, brotherhood, you know, creating valuable relationships with one another. I am all about having, you know, good people around me. So once I stopped self-sabotaging, just like the good people started to, you know, gravitate towards me, and I started to gravitate towards them. So that was a really nice feeling. I think that was like a really good accomplishment that I'm super proud of. So I did have to recognize that I was putting walls up, and I wasn't able to be vulnerable with people. So that was preventing me from forming a connection altogether. Also, so I didn't have a lot of good friends. I want to say I cut off like my last bad friend back in 2023. And I just have been like super aware of people that I'm making my friends. Now, I am going to say I will use discernment till the day I die, but I was hyper vigilant with like over analyzing people, and for a point in time, because I was just so used to attracting bad people and having negative experience with so many of the people that I was encountering, that I didn't realize that I had to work on myself and stop self-sabotaging, because I was subconsciously choosing these people because this is what felt normal to me. But while I was choosing these people, I was actually just over analyzing their personalities, and I was questioning their intentions with me. I was questioning their motives. I was just hyper aware of everything that people were doing just to see if they were going to do me wrong. And it was just like, I was like looking for that moment, like, haha, I knew you were going to do that. But it was self-sabotaging, because one, I was attracting people that I was, you know, that were normal, that at that normal chaos level that I'm used to. So that's one thing. And then also I was just being super like, I'm waiting for you to mess up. And that's self-sabotaging, because I wasn't actually allowing myself to be vulnerable with certain people. I wasn't allowing myself to actually get to know these certain people and form connections with them. And me not being able to be vulnerable with people came from my fear of being hurt. I didn't want to deal with abandonment or rejection again. So it was just really hard for me to be in a space where I am being vulnerable with people, whether it was a relationship or platonic friendship. I was just having a really, really hard time just connecting with people and being vulnerable. And it took me healing and, you know, soothing my nervous system so that I could let myself know that it's safe and I cannot control the outcome of what people will do. Eventually, I was able to let my guard down, but me not being vulnerable meant my guard was constantly up. I want to talk about how to stop self-sabotaging. Now, this isn't going to be, you know, the end all be all. You're going to stop self-sabotaging after I make my points, but this is going to put you in the right direction. I really recommend reading The Mountain Is You, because that is just really a really good book to put everything into perspective. But basically what you want to do to stop self-sabotaging is you have to train your brain to basically letting go of control. Like, your brain and your nervous system, its main focus, its main function is to keep you safe and make sure, you know, stay alive. So we can't really stop that aspect, but what we can do is train our brain into realizing certain situations are not harmful anymore. So I'm just going to talk about like the things that I had to do mentally, so that, well, mentally and physically, so that I could, you know, stop self-sabotaging and my brain was more relaxed and just approach situations differently, because I knew, and my brain knew, and my nervous system knew that everything's going to be okay. I'm not about to die. I want to just put this out there. You cannot stop self-sabotaging if you're extremely overwhelmed and stressed and basically in flight or fight mode. So you have to calm your nervous system down before you can even begin to train your brain into learning certain situations are safe and not safe. The key to stop self-sabotaging is the key to stop self-sabotaging is to self-regulate. So this is going to just be calming yourself down. And I talked about calming yourself down in my previous video. One of my previous videos, I've been making just a whole bunch of videos, but my previous video where I talked about glowing up for my anxious girlies, I would definitely love if you guys check that out. But there I talked about calming your nervous system and self-regulating. Now, self-regulating is going to be calming yourself down, but also becoming aware of your emotions. And like I said, you basically have to teach your brain that certain situations are not unsafe. They're just unknown, and you have to learn the difference between that. So what helped me was repeating this phrase: I am safe, I am safe, I am safe. Just repeat that as many times as you feel like you need to in order for you to just calm down. That literally helped me calm down. Along with taking deep breaths, I would take breaths, just long breaths. At first I wasn't counting, but I found it more helpful to count. So I would take deep breaths, counting to 4 or 5, and then exhaling for like 5, 6 to 10. I think that's what it's supposed to be. So another thing to help you self-regulate is to stop letting your small feelings, well, I'm not going to say small, stop letting your short-term feelings determine your long-term goals. So what I mean by that is you're just going to have to develop a tolerance for difficult emotions or emotions that you haven't experienced before. It is going to be a little difficult to navigate through these emotions, but the important thing is that you're getting through these emotions and not suppressing them, and not even well, you don't want to suppress or not acknowledge these emotions. These emotions are coming up for a reason, and it's okay to acknowledge them and process them and allow them to pass. And it's important to remember that every emotion that you feel or that comes up, it's okay to feel that. And that's something that I had to keep telling myself. My therapist told me this as well, is that it's okay. There's no such thing as a bad emotion. These emotions are coming up for a reason, and you need to process them. You need to determine how these emotions are making you feel, this, that, and the third. But what the important thing I want you to take away from this is do not suppress your emotions, because that's going to basically stop you from self-regulating. You're not dealing with what you need to deal with. To take it a step further, you can even say, where are these feelings coming from? Why am I feeling this way? Just self-reflecting to see what is bringing up this emotion after you acknowledge it. So even if these difficult emotions are uncomfortable, I want you to always remember that they do not last forever. They're usually pretty brief. So just ride with it. Just go with it. You got to swim through it. I always think of Finding Nemo. I watched a lot of movies. That's good. I always think of Finding Nemo when Dory was like, we have to go through it. And Merlin, whatever his name was, he was like, it looks safer to go up. And the jellyfish ended up being up in there. So the safer way was to go through it rather than going around it. So go through your emotions rather than going around. And also another way to think of this is, say you're going through the toll. When you're driving a car, you're going through a toll and then you stop to pay your money, or, you know, I have an Easy Pass, so I stop to use my Easy Pass so it can be read. And I just stop for a brief moment. But as soon as you pay that toll, you get to continue on with your life. So imagine the toll being your emotions and you're just paying attention for that moment. And then you're on to the next thing. Like, it's okay to stop, acknowledge it, pay your toll, acknowledge your emotion, and keep going. That's exactly how it happens. You don't have to dwell on it. Well, you can dwell on it as long as it takes for you to, you know, get through it. But it's not going to last forever is what I'm trying to say. So, how you train your brain to realize that certain situations or certain goals that you have set for yourself in the future are not unsafe is by visualizing and manifesting. And I love manifesting because I get to visualize what I want. And this also is telling my brain simultaneously that this is a safe thing that I'm going after. So I don't have to self-sabotage when it comes to obtaining this goal, or, you know, or when this goal is progressing. It's safe. It's completely safe because I've already visualized it in my head. So what I typically do is I take a safe spot, usually like in my bedroom somewhere, and I sit down in a quiet space for a few minutes. I take some deep breaths, usually 5 to 10, until I'm just like basically in a meditating state, but not completely. And I am just visualizing. I pick one goal at a time and I visualize it. I think of everything that comes up, all of the emotions that come up, how this goal makes me feel, the things that I see around me when I'm visualizing this goal, and the outcome of this goal. So this is basically training your brain to be comfortable with the idea that you're going to be pursuing something new, and it's all going to be okay. It's all going to be safe, so your nervous system doesn't have to make you self-sabotage or bring up difficult emotions, because this is something that you've already familiarized your nervous system and your brain with. So now all you have to do is carry out the actions, and that's how you're going to complete your goal without self-sabotaging. So I hope this helped. Like I said, I went through my self-sabotaging journey for many years, and I'm glad to say that I have been able to accomplish so many goals just by recognizing my self-sabotaging behaviors and taking care of them one by one. But visualizing and manifesting have definitely helped me. I'm so sorry if you can hear my cat in the background. She is going crazy. She does this when I make videos. But anyways, I hope this information helped. Let me know if you guys have any questions on anything that I touched on in this video. And I want to thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to actually stop and watch me. So thank you guys. I hope you have a good day. Bye.